Adult orthodontic patients have a lot to learn from Abraham Lincoln. What do they have to learn? Abraham Lincoln went through 3 generals-in-chief during the Civil War before he arrived at Ulysses S. Grant, the ultimate winner, the ultimate guy who got the job done. Adult orthodontics, especially airway orthodontics that deals in brutal appliances like the MSE that have a high failure rate if not properly executed, can be a lot like warfare. It can be messy. It can be complicated. It's a long drawn-out process where there's lots of opportunities for people to get entrenched in their plan, in their strategy, for that strategy to prove to be not so effective, but then they have inertia and they have verbal and written commitment to that strategy that's hard for them to back out of. And in those situations, sometimes the best thing to do is to fire someone and bring in a fresh set of eyes to start over. You got to wipe the slate clean. Why do I bring this up? I had a one-on-one chat today with a patient in his mid-30s who had an MSE in his mouth, had turned it over 40 times, and was wondering if it was actually working. Did he have a split? Now, his doctor was telling him, yeah, it's working. But I was not seeing a diastema. And anytime after 40 turns you don't see any kind of diastema or gap between the teeth anywhere, that's a huge red flag that the C's have not in fact parted. Okay, now I'm not sure that there was no split, but my sense was, I think what's happening here is that the arms of the MSE are just pushing on the molars as the tads drag through the bone. There's been no bona fide skeletal expansion yet. But his doctor seemed reluctant to have this conversation with him. Probably because the doctor had already verbally said at some point, oh yeah, this is working, we have a split. And anytime a doctor kind of commits to something, it's very hard for them to walk that back, right? No one likes to call out their own shortcomings or to backtrack on something they said or claimed. It's just human nature. Just like in war. Maybe a general thinks, oh, the best way to do this is to train the army a lot, and then only once they're ultimately ready for battle do we take on the enemy, like George McClellan did. But his problem was that strategy failed because he ended up over-preparing and then under-executing. But it was hard for him to walk that strategy back. So the best thing for Lincoln to do was to just fire him and bring in someone new who didn't have all of this baggage of having tried something and committed to it, and who was unwilling to walk away from what they had put their reputation on and staked their pride on, right? And when we go through the warfare of trying to expand our jaws, we can develop friendships with our doctors. We have so much admiration for them and respect, especially when we, like let's say we learn about them on YouTube and we start to see them as these larger-than-life figures, and then we go into treatment with them, and our initial interaction with them is one of awe and respect and admiration. And then something in our treatment starts to go sideways. And in those moments, we have to learn to walk away and start fresh with a second opinion, rather than doubling down on a doctor who is kind of burnt out with us and all the shit that's going sideways with our treatment, and who is committed to a plan, but that plan isn't working. The best thing to do, in my opinion, in such cases, and of course you got to take these case by case, is give them the out. They might be burnt out with your case, and rather than you coming in and showing them what they're doing wrong, okay, and putting them on the spot like that, and then calling their pride into question, as they've got 40 other patients a day to deal with, often the easiest thing to do is to just walk away, give them the out, give yourself a fresh pair of eyes with a new doctor, and go into that next stage of your treatment with someone else. All right? Let me know your thoughts on that. And one thing I want to do more of in these videos is coaching patients on their relationships with their doctors, because honestly, a big part of what I do in my one-on-one chats is just coach patient-doctor communication. as that is an incredibly difficult thing for patients to manage, and there's a huge disconnect between patient expectations from these MSE providers and the daily reality of what these doctors are actually dealing with. So let's talk more about that for the doctor's sake, for the patient's sake, and I hope this is the beginning of an ongoing conversation on that end. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Check y'all soon. Peace out.